written by none other than J.K. Rowling. It was published in United Kingdom in the year 1997 by Bloomsbury. It was published the next year by Scholastic Corporation in United States. The story starts when Harry Potter has been living an ordinary life, constantly abused by his surly and cold aunt and uncle Vernon and Petunia Dursley, and bullied by the spoiled son Dudley since the death of his parents 10 years prior. His life changes on the day of his 11th birthday, when he receives a letter of acceptance at Hogwarts, School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, delivered by a half-giant named Rufus Hagrid after previous letters had been destroyed by Vernon and Petunia. Hagrid details Harry's past as the son of James and Lily Potter, who were a wizard and witch respectively, and how they were murdered by the most evil and powerful dark wizard of all time, Lord Voldemort, which resulted in the 1-year-old Harry being sent to live with his uncle and aunt. Voldemort was not only unable to kill Harry, but his powers were also destroyed in the attempt, forcing him to exile and sparking Harry's immense fame among the magical community. Hagrid introduces Harry into the wizarding world by bringing him to Diagon Alley, a hidden street in London where Harry uncovers the fortune left to him by his parents at Gringotts Wizarding Bank. He also receives a pet owl, Hedwig, various school supplies, and a wand. There, he is surprised to discover how famous he truly is among witches and wizards as the boy who lived. A month later, Harry leaves the Dursleys' home to catch the Hogwarts Express from King's Cross railway station's secret Hogwarts platform 9 3/4. On the train, he quickly befriends fellow first year Ronald Weasley, and the two boys meet Hermione Granger, whose snobbiness and affinity for spells initially causes the two boys to dislike her a bit. There, Harry also makes an enemy of yet another first year, Draco Malfoy, who shows prejudice against Ron for his family's financial difficulties. Arriving at Hogwarts, the first years are assigned by the magical Sorting Hat to houses that best suit their personalities, the 4 houses being Gryffindor, Slytherin, Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw. Harry hears from Ron about Slytherin's dark reputation, which is known to house potential dark witches and wizards, and thus objects to being sorted into Slytherin, despite the Hat claiming that Harry has potential to develop in that house. He winds up in Gryffindor with Ron and Hermione, while Draco is sorted into Slytherin like his family before him. As classes begin at Hogwarts, Harry discovers his innate talent for flying on broomsticks despite no prior experience, and is recruited into his house team for Quidditch as a seeker. He also comes to dislike the potions master of the school, Severus Snape, who is also the head of Slytherin House, who acts with bias in favor of members of his house while perpetually looking for opportunities to fail Harry and his friends. Malfoy tricks Harry and Ron into a duel in Trophy Room to get them out of their rooms at night, and secretly tells Filch, the school's caretaker, where they will be. Hermione unintentionally is forced to come along after her failed attempts to stop them, and they find Gryffindor student Neville Longbottom asleep outside the common area because he had forgotten the password to get in. After realizing the duel was set up to get them in trouble, they run away. They then discover a huge 3-headed dog standing guard over a trapdoor in a forbidden corridor. The school's Halloween celebrations are interrupted by the entrance of a troll into the school, which enters the girls' bathroom where Hermione was. However, she is saved by Harry and Ron, and as a result, Hermione is grateful and the three become best friends. Coupled with Snape's recent leg injury as well as behavior, the recent events prompt Harry, Hermione and Ron to suspect him to be looking for a way to enter the trapdoor. Hermione forbids the boys from investigating for fear of expulsion and instead makes Harry direct his attention to his first ever Quidditch match, where his broomstick begins to lose control and threatens to throw him off. This leads Hermione to suspect that Snape had jinxed Harry's broom due to his strange behavior during the match. After the excitement of winning the match has died down, Christmas arrives and Harry receives an invisibility cloak from an anonymous source claiming that the cloak belonged to Harry's father. Using the clock to explore the school at night to investigate bodies under the trapdoor, he discovers the mirror of Erased, in which the viewer sees his or her deepest desires come true. Within the mirror, Harry sees himself standing with both of his parents. A visit to Hagrid's hut at the foot of the school leads the trio to find a newspaper report stating there had been an attempted robbery of a Gringotts vault, the same vault that Hagrid and Harry had visited when the latter was getting his school supplies. A further indiscretion from Hagrid allows him to walk out, and the object kept under the trapdoor is a Philosopher's Stone, which grants its user immortality as well as the ability to turn any metal into pure gold. Harry is also informed by centaur named Farenz in the forest that a plot to steal the stone is being orchestrated by none other than the Voldemort himself, who schemes to use it to be restored back his body and return to power. When the school's headmaster, Albus Dumbledore, is lured from Hogwarts under false pretenses, Harry, Hermione and Ron fear that the theft is imminent and descend through the trapdoor themselves. They encounter a series of obstacles, each of which requires unique skills possessed by one of the three, one of which requires Ron to sacrifice himself in a life-sized game of wizard's chess. In the final room, Harry, now alone, finds Quirinus Quirrell, the defense against the arts teacher, who reveals he had been the one working behind the scenes to kill Harry by first jinxing his broom and then letting it roll into the school. While Snape had been trying to protect Harry instead, Quirrell is helping Voldemort, whose face has sprouted on the back of Quirrell's head but is constantly concealed by his oversized turban, to attain the Philosopher's Stone so as to restore his body. Quirrell uses Harry to get past the final obstacle, the Mirror of Erased, by forcing him to stand before the mirror. It recognizes Harry's lack of greed for the stone and surreptitiously deposits it into his pocket. As Quirrell attempts to seize the stone and kill Harry, his flesh burns on contact with the boy's skin and breaks into blisters. Harry's scar suddenly burns with pain and he becomes unconscious. 3 days later, he awakens in the school's infirmary, where Dumbledore explains his survival against Voldemort is due to his mother's sacrificing her life in order for him to live. This left a powerful protective charm on Harry that lives in his blood, which caused Quirrell's hand to burn on contact with Harry due to him being possessed by hatred and greed. He also reveals himself as the one who sent Harry his father's invisibility cloak, while Quirrell has been left to die by Voldemort, who still lives, and the stone has now been destroyed. The eventful school year ends at the final feast, during which Gryffindor wins the House Cup. Harry returns to Privet Drive for the summer, neglecting to tell the Dursleys that the use of spells is forbidden by underage wizards and witches, and thus anticipating some fun and peace over the holidays. Thank you.
Hi friends, I am Sriya P. Salil from class 6th is going to talk about one of my favorite books, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by British author J.K. Rowling. It is a story about Harry Potter, an orphan brought up by his aunt and uncle because his parents were killed when he was a baby. Harry is unloved by his aunt and uncle, but everything changes when he is invited to join Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry and finds out he is a wizard. At Hogwarts, Harry realizes that he is special and his adventures begin when he and his new friends Ron and Hermione attempts to unravel the mystery of the Sorcerer's Stone. I can read this book over and over again. From the very beginning until the end, J.K. Rowling has me gripped. There is never a dull moment, whether it's battling with trolls, a three-headed dog, or Harry facing Lord Voldemort. I would definitely recommend this book because it keeps you reading without ever wanting to put the book down. By the end of the book, you would come to love the characters and want to read more. Thank you.
Good morning, friends. Today, myself, Nandana K. After studying in 7th grade, I'm going to tell you about my favorite Harry Potter book and why I like it so much. Harry Potter is a famous fictional book written by British author J.K. Rowling. It features three best friends: the famous wizard Harry Potter, the smart and talented Hermione Granger, and Ron Weasley, who together crack the mystery at Hogwarts. I have read many Harry Potter books, and my favorite one is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Today, my friends, I'm going to tell you about this book and why I like it so much. So, the story begins like this. The famous wizard Harry Potter is back for another year at Hogwarts School for Witchcraft and Wizardry. Harry is delighted when he gets on the Hogwarts Express for the second time, as summer has been very unenjoyable as the Dursleys being the only relatives left of his family. When Harry sees the, when Harry sees the school after what seems like ages, he sees hooded figures standing outside. Harry found out they were actually Dementors. They guard Azkaban, the most feared wizard prison, and he set all of the
Great Harry and Ron, many others many times. Dumbledore's Army is a secret organization found by Hermione but taught and led by Harry. She gave the idea of a one-way communication a coin in which way they could communicate to the Dumbledore's Army members.